My name is Chen Jiafeng. I have been married to my husband for a decade. Yet throughout these years, I have never been pregnant. This situation made both of us anxious and bewildered. We have visited numerous hospitals for checkups, but the doctors couldn't identify a precise cause. At times, I couldn't hold back my tears, feeling like a woman who had failed in an important aspect of life. My husband has always been extremely considerate towards me, stating that no matter what occurred, he would always stand by my side, but I was aware that he too was inwardly anxious. One day, my husband's brother, Chen Hao, came to stay at our home for a few days. The three of us got along rather well. However, less than a week after Chen Hao's stay, I discovered I was pregnant. When I saw the 2 lines on the pregnancy test stick, I couldn't believe my eyes. I promptly informed my husband, whose eyes turned red with excitement. He tightly embraced me, saying that his wish had finally come true. We discussed the matter and decided to wait until 3 months later to disclose the news to our families. My heart was a mixture of excitement and fear. I was terrified of experiencing another miscarriage as before. 3 months later, we finally mustered the courage to share the news with our families. Everyone was elated for us and sent their blessings. But when the conversation turned to the period when I became pregnant, which coincided with Chen Hao's visit, the atmosphere turned silent for an instant. I sensed an odd vibe. I hastened to explain that it must have been a coincidence and had nothing to do with brother Chen Hao. My husband nodded repeatedly, insisting it was our own fortune and hoped no one would overthink it. Brother Chen Hao has always been a quiet person. He merely smiled slightly. In the subsequent days, I always felt that the people around me were casting strange glances at me. My mother hinted at me from time to time, saying that the body undergoes significant changes during pregnancy and cautioning me about various matters. This made me feel highly uncomfortable. My husband has been comforting me, claiming that people are merely overly concerned about us and urging me not to take it too seriously, but I could sense that he too was internally uneasy. One day, I couldn't refrain from bringing it up to my husband, asking if he thought people truly doubted us. I felt as if they were all discussing us behind our backs. My husband sighed and said he didn't know either. But regardless of what others said, he believed in me and our child. As he spoke, he hugged me tightly. Just then, the doorbell rang. When we opened the door, it turned out to be Brother Chen Hao. My heart tightened, fearing that he would say something embarrassing. Unexpectedly, he had an apologetic expression on his face. Jiafeng, I've come to apologize to you. I know you've been troubled. I'm truly sorry too. I merely wanted to say that I really didn't do anything inappropriate. I was just coming to visit and hoped it would be helpful. My husband and I looked at each other, somewhat surprised. I hesitated but still led him into the house. Brother Chen Hao sat down and meticulously explained the situation to us. It turned out that he merely happened to visit us that day and had no other ulterior motive. He noticed my discomfort and offered to assist with more household chores, hoping to ease my burden a little. Who knew that just a few days later, I turned out to be pregnant. He swore that he definitely didn't do anything beyond the pale. I just wanted to help you both, but I didn't anticipate that it would cause everyone to have such a misunderstanding, Brother Chen Hao said sincerely. After listening to his explanation, my husband and I finally heaved a sigh of relief. We all believed him, and I was also sorry for my previous suspicions. My husband patted Chen Hao's brother on the shoulder and said, "Brother, we're really sorry. We should have believed you." I quickly chimed in, "Yes, I'm sorry, brother. We were too suspicious." Brother Chen Hao smiled and said it didn't matter. "I understand your concerns. I only hope that we can all get along in the future and welcome the arrival of this little baby together." But my mom didn't seem convinced. Instead, she was even more convinced of her own speculation. She said to Zhao Fang sharply, "You don't try to hide anything. I am your mother. I can tell that there must be something amiss. What on earth happened among the three of you?" I hurriedly explained, but she didn't listen at all. In the end, I had no choice but to hang up. I broke down and informed my husband and Brother Chen Hao of my mother's thoughts. My husband looked anxious and said this was troublesome. Mom certainly wouldn't easily believe our explanations. Brother Chen Hao remained silent for a long time. Finally, he sighed and said, "Perhaps we should be candid." This statement stunned my husband and me. "Be candid when we didn't do anything? Do we have to tell your mother that it was during the few days you came that this happened?" My heart was pounding, and my mind was filled with all kinds of terrifying speculations. While we were hesitating, the doorbell rang again. When we opened it, it turned out to be my mom and my dad. As soon as they entered the door, my mother pointed directly at my stomach and questioned, "Zhao Fang, whose child are you pregnant with?" I was trembling with fear and didn't know how to answer. Just then, Brother Chen Hao stood up and said solemnly, "Uncle and aunt, this child belongs to my younger brother and Zhao Fang. It has nothing to do with me. It was during my visit that I inadvertently helped them a little, which caused such a misunderstanding. We should clarify this matter. We hope you can trust us." My husband and I were both wide-eyed, looking at Brother Chen Hao in disbelief. He actually took the initiative to assume this responsibility. I couldn't believe my ears and was speechless for a while. My mom obviously didn't expect this to happen and was stunned in place for a long time. She looked at Brother Chen Hao with confusion and uncertainty in her eyes. My dad frowned too, looking very unhappy. Just then, my husband stepped forward and tightly held Chen Hao's brother's hand, saying solemnly, "Brother, thank you for your willingness to take responsibility for us, but this matter is truly our private matter. You shouldn't be left to bear it. Zhao Fang and I didn't do anything wrong. This child is ours. We will take good care of him. I hope you can give us a chance." I looked at my husband with mixed emotions in my heart. I was both moved by his defense and felt some guilt. After all, it was us who had put Brother Chen Hao in such a predicament. I hesitated and said, "Mom, it's really just a coincidence. We never expected to cause such a misunderstanding. We merely wanted to wait until 3 months later to tell you again. We really are sorry for the inconvenience." My mom was silent for a long time and finally sighed. "Okay, since you all say so, then I'll trust you. But be honest in the future and don't hide anything anymore." We all breathed a sigh of relief and nodded in understanding. The husband hugged Brother Chen Hao and said sincerely, Brother, thank you so much for your willingness to take responsibility for us. We will definitely cherish this family even more in the future. Brother Chen Hao said with a smile. Brother, you're welcome. I just want to help you guys. I also hope that you can take good care of this little baby. I felt the atmosphere around me finally relax. I took my husband's hand and said to him, Dear, we've finally overcome this. I truly appreciate you so much. Thank you, brother too. I love you. My husband kissed me on the forehead and said softly, I love you too, Zhao Fang. We will definitely be the best parents we can be.